Here now is Republican Congressman Don Bacon from Nebraska. Thanks for joining us, Congressman. So Democrats say they voted to shut down the government, and their main argument is that they're doing so because the Obamacare subsidies need to be extended. They're going to expire at the end of the year, and this is their only way to force Republicans to the negotiating table. You and Democratic Congressman Tom Suozzi of New York just released a bipartisan set of principles that could resolve some of those issues. Tell us more. What do you both agree on?
Well, first of all, most Republicans did not want to see the COVID era ACA tax credits that expire on 31 December just fully expire. Some wanted to do a one-year extension. People like me wanted to see some reforms. And so it's a little bit of a fallacy. Most Republicans do not want to see premiums go up for everybody. But what Tom Suozzi and I did, and also Jeff Hurd and Josh Gottheimer, the four of us, two Republicans, two Democrats, we wanted to find some basic principles that we can agree on to show that this is not that hard. First of all, we think we need income caps. Right now, you could earn $800,000 and get these COVID-era tax credits put towards your ACA. So we want to put some caps on it. I believe around $200,000 should be about right, and then they should maybe stagger off. But that's negotiable, what those precise numbers are. But we think around 200,000 and then taper off those tax credits. Secondly, these tax credits should go directly to help offset premiums. Right now, a lot of these tax credits are sent to companies and they're not directly attributed to people's premiums. And we want to make sure they're helping out individuals lower their premiums. And then if we could do that, we think we should do a 2-year extension. And that's our framework. And if we could get a 2-year extension, then maybe we could work on some of the more underlying problems of ACA and why it's so expensive. But most Republicans don't want to see these tax credits just fall off and just drop totally. And I know that, and this is the Democrats' priority on this shutdown. So we think this is reachable.
Have you shared this bipartisan agreement on principles with Speaker Johnson? What have you heard from Republican leadership?
I've done more with the problem solvers, and I would say folks that are negotiating. And frankly, I think it'd be better for me to work this through the problem solvers and people who want to negotiate. Because in the end, we got to get an agreement within the appropriations committees, right? Now, I have listened very closely to Speaker Johnson and also Majority Leader Thune. I know what their key concerns are. One of them is there should be caps on income. The other one is that should go directly towards people's premiums. So you can tell that I've helped structure this agreement, keeping in mind what the concerns were from John Thune and Mike Johnson. So I've tried to be responsive to what I think their red lines are. And so I've listened to them, but I wanted to lead with our bipartisan group and hopefully break the logjam in the negotiations, particularly in the Senate.
You talked about in those 2 years, assuming this were to become law, that extension, spending some time to look at why premiums are going up, especially under Obamacare. President Trump was on CBS's 60 Minutes last night. Here's what he said when asked about his plan to replace Obamacare, which a promise he made in 2015, and nothing's come of it. Take a listen.
We can make it much less expensive for people and give them much better health care.
But where is that
I'd
plan?
be willing to work with the
plan?
Democrats on it. The problem is they want to give money to prisoners, to drug dealers, to all these millions of people that were allowed to come in with an open border from Biden, and nobody can do that.
So obviously, as I said, President Trump's been saying for a decade that he wants to replace Obamacare, but he's never presented any sort of plan. Is there a Republican plan?
Well, there's a rudiment plan that we worked on 7 years ago, and it's this. And I think if we would have stuck to what I'm going to say, I think we could have got some compromise with the Democrats on this. The reason healthcare is so expensive today on the ACA plans is that all of the high-risk folks who are struggling with various health issues are put into the main pool with everybody else. And what happens is a lot of the healthy people, because the rates went up, got out of it, and they didn't even get the insurance. So what that did is anybody that's on ACA, their rates skyrocketed, and more healthy people were getting off, raising the rates even higher. So what we have to do is find a way to lower the costs of those that are high risk and directly help with their premiums, to lower their premiums down. And that would allow the healthy people without any risks or any conditions to get back into the ACA plans, and that would lower overall premiums. But we're going to have to realize if you're coming with a precondition, it's going to probably take government taxpayer support to keep those premiums down. That's just a fact of life.
That sounds like you got some work to do. Perhaps you shouldn't retire after all. Republican Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska, thanks so much. Always appreciate it.